Hello everyone, today is day 31 of Operation Epic Fury, and as the operation enters its second month, the hottest news right now is the arrival of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Brigade aboard the USS Tripoli, part of the amphibious assault group ready for combat, along with F-35B Lightning II aircraft, also known as Panthers. And as the operation enters its second month, the hottest news right now is the arrival of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Brigade aboard the USS Tripoli, part of the amphibious assault group ready for combat, along with F-35B Lightning II aircraft, also known as Panthers. Fighters are surging from the Marine Expeditionary Unit into the Middle East. Right now, the IRGC is issuing a fresh threat. Of course, they're threatening that American and Israeli universities across the region are now legitimate targets in retaliation for claim strikes on Iranian academic institutions. It's just a coincidence that all your IRGC headquarters were embedded in these academic institutions and hospitals and schools, mind you. But Iran also issued an ultimatum to the U.S., saying that the U.S. must officially condemn the bombings of the universities by noon today or face consequences. And those consequences would be Iran attacking various universities linked to the U.S. and Israel in the Middle East region. So stay with me, because the F-35B Lightning II is about to do what it does best to support the Marine Expeditionary Units, Marine Recon, and raiders to help protect freedom of navigation through the Straits of Hormuz. We're going to be assessing exactly what these Marines could do. They could be doing right now in Iran or the surrounding areas around Iran. They told students, staff to get 1 kilometer away from all these campuses because they're going to strike them now. But this Marine Expeditionary Unit has a little something to say about Iran's threats, and they're going to take the fight even harder to Iran at this point, because they're rolling in with those F-35s, transport aircraft, amphibious assault vehicles, and tactical assets that give instant power projection across the Persian Gulf. And what the Marine Expeditionary Unit does next is going to challenge everything we've heard about close air support from the F-35B. But before that, we got to talk about the fact that putting these Marines on K Island, that to me doesn't make a lot of sense without complete air supremacy. Right now, the US has air superiority where the fighters and bombers are operating with impunity, but there's still drones and ballistic missiles. So complete air supremacy needs to be had from those drones and missiles before putting any of these Marines, any of these contingents of Marine raiders or recon operators in positions where they could be struck by these drones. So taking Carr Island and creating a sitting duck force that's just sitting there to get struck by the drones or ballistic missiles doesn't exactly make any sense at this point. But maintaining landing operations from different attack ships, completely separate from the Tripoli landing ships, makes far more sense. And they are very flexible. You don't know their exact location. They can perform many different missions without occupying any particular island. So this was issued by an IRGC spokesman. He said Iranian forces are waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever. That was the country's parliamentary speaker, Mohammed Ba-Khalaf, said that. He also added, he's not done yet, he said, our firing continues, our missiles are in place, our determination and faith have increased. So keep in mind, though, the IRGC, those are the guys that taught the insurgents in Iraq and Afghanistan how to make IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They are the pros at doing that. So they would love nothing more than a massive ground assault force to be sitting ducks where they could just cause more chaos and turned public sentiment even more against any war in the Middle East.
Fifth update on Operation Epic Fury. We're in the fourth week of the campaign and remain on plan or ahead of plan in achieving very clear military objectives for eliminating Iran's ability to project power in meaningful ways outside its borders.
So the regime's proxies are also firing up as well. They're probing and they're doing attacks over the last few days, with Iran-backed Houthis launching their first missile barges at Israel on March 28th, and that was their sign of solidarity with Tehran. They were swiftly intercepted by Israeli defenses. American and Israeli forces responded with targeted strikes across Iran, hitting military sites and further degrading the regime's missile launchers, air bases, and nuclear-related infrastructure. And it looks like the Pentagon and Washington, they are crushing the Iranian ability for their military to operate, with the focus shifting towards the Straits of Hormuz, while also providing some diplomatic off-ramps if Tehran dismantles its nuclear program, ends proxy wars. Kind of a snowball's chance in hell of that, in my opinion. I mean, that's their last leg that they think will protect the actual regime, and also guarantees of freedom of navigation through the Straits of Hormuz, and the arrival of the 31st MW with its F-35B fighters, that marks a powerful demonstration of, hey, if these negotiations don't work out, it's okay, the American resolve will take care of this. With this rapid power projection, these 2,500 Marines are now bolstering the 50,000 U.S. troops that are already in the theater. But wait till you hear how badly the IRGC's regime is starting to. They're trying to activate those around the Persian Gulf to try to distract the U.S. during what could be negotiations. But we're not exactly sure who's actually being negotiated with at this point. Could there be some sort of internal fracture within the regime where there are different elements that are trying to vie for power? When President Trump basically said that he couldn't tell the media who the U.S. was negotiating with in Iran, to me that means he doesn't want that faction to get killed by another faction. They're trying to activate those around the Persian Gulf to try to distract the U.S. during what could be negotiations. But we're not exactly sure who's actually being negotiated with at this point. Could there be some sort of internal fracture within the regime where there are different elements that are trying to vie for power? When President Trump basically said that he couldn't tell the media who the U.S. was negotiating with in Iran, to me that means he doesn't want that faction to get killed by another faction. The elite force of the Marine Expeditionary Unit, roughly 2,200 Marines, 3,500 total sailors. They entered the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility March 27th through 28th. They're delivering that powerful suite of capabilities. They're underscoring America's unmatched ability to surge combat-ready forces all the way from the Indo-Pacific towards the Middle East. Basically, in just a couple weeks, the Marine Expeditionary Unit's versatile amphibious assault power, rapid raid forces, maritime security teams, crisis response expertise, marine recon. When it comes to the ability for special operators to operate in the water or amphibious areas, it doesn't really come close to marine recon.